All right, it's Monday, January 17th, Martin Luther King Day. It was a crazy week, lots of football. It was a crazy Monday. There's snow and ice and storms everywhere. I think we just need to bounce for a second and get this show on the road.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They
Oh man. We got a massive part of the country, Kyle, that is just trying to figure out what to.
Shocked. We had snowpocalypse yesterday. Well, not really. We had like an inch, and then it was all gone. So no big deal because hey, look, Paul, we're professionals here in Nashville.
You're good now. That's what I said. That's the spirit.
We know how to handle 8 inches, so we good.
I know it. Hey, Rob, what's going on? Good morning. Big Apple, New York City. I wonder if New York City got any snow. I don't know, Kyle. You and I are going to have some travel tomorrow. We're heading down to D.C., so I think we'll be all right. No flight cancellations as of yet, and we'll get going. There's kind of some stuff to go around. First of all, I will say happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody. I saw a great quote. I've heard it before from somebody that we both follow, Simon Sinek. He's a great thinker, man. He is just a great thinker. Sure. And he says this. He says, Dr. King gave the "I have a dream" speech, not the "I have a plan" speech. And it's dreams that move the course of history. And so I love that because, like we're in automotive. We have a lot of plans. We have a lot of planners.
Can we break that down just a little bit? We don't have to spend a lot of time.
We can. It's Monday morning. We need to ease on into this.
Yeah, we need to ease. And not just that, but like this is for a lot of people. And for me as a consummate planner, I'm always like, let's put it on a doc. Let's figure out what's next. Let's go into the next year, the next month, the next week. Let's get the schedule down. Yep. Right. There's a lot of safety in that. And I'm not disregarding planning, but if there's never time to dream, if there's never like thought or vision or like casting something way forward into the future that seems bigger than it might actually, like that seems bigger than anything that you could possibly accomplish. Yeah. There's no capacity for actually planning to get to that dream. Right.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Because then all you're doing is planning on like things that you can see happening. And so you never challenge yourself in your plans. And I think that's one thing that's really key for me about dreaming is that I actually, if I go, whoa, what if X, then I actually have the capacity to exercise like a little bit of like elasticity in my planning and in my brain to go, that's going to take some work to get there, right? Like I'm going to have to flex along the way because I don't really know how to get there. I know the direction, I know where I'm headed, but in order to get there, there's going to be times where it might change because I've never been there before, right?
It's kind of the thing, always have thought about vision, right? Vision statements in a company or organization or as a country or as a group of people, any group of people. Vision is what is over the horizon. You can never really see it. It's like the light when you're driving up to a city at nighttime and you can see the clouds lit up. They call it, actually, the official word for it is maze. You can see the maze over the horizon and you know it's over there, but you drive in that direction. That's what vision is. And that's why plans don't inspire, right? Because you'll get to it and then now what, right? So the vision's over the horizon. So Martin Luther King Jr. had a vision and we're still in the midst of realizing that vision. He never could have had a plan, right? Who can plan for this? Who can plan for how things go?
Right.
But it's amazing that dream and that vision is still alive and still moving forward, even to this day. So it deserved an honorable mention there on the show at the outset. There's a lot of things going on this weekend, but you and I had some interaction over the NFL because you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan and I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Yes.
And the Bengals, I was like loving watching that game.
We did a thing. I'm telling you what, and you probably know this as an Eagles fan, right? You kind of have this moment at the end of any game that you're winning, especially by a small margin,
it's
that like this is going to get real Bengalsy right now, right?
Absolutely.
And we were in that moment. Like I texted my dad. I said, this feels real Bengalsy, like the play calling. It just felt like everything was headed toward destruction and there's no way we're going to make it. Had played the better game, but ended up on top. It was super fun to have that. and appreciate you rooting.
Yes.
rooting
Hey,
with me
hey,
kind of
man.
there.
I
So
appreciate
I
it.
followed suit
31
the next
years.
day.
What was that?
So I
Oh
followed
yeah,
suit in
yeah, he
rooting the
did.
next day.
He did, and we got real Eaglesy in our playoff game, and we had to lose to
Yes.
Tom Brady. But I predicted this one in the beginning of the year. I was like, we'll have a good start. We'll
Yeah.
struggle through the season. We'll sneak into the playoffs, and we'll lose in round one. And true to form, my expectations were set accordingly, and I spent most of the second half of the game doing something else while I was checking. And I got to see a couple Eagles touchdown, maintain a little pride. So we'll see. There was a second where I thought, I was like, well, Kyle's a Bengals fan and they won. It's like, and I'm an Eagles fan. I was like, oh, we could have a situation come Super Bowl Sunday, albeit a rare one.
Where it could have been
Bengals Eagles, but we'll leave that for another year. One thing that I do think is worth noting on the show is, did you see all the EV commercials?
Holy cow.
Everywhere.
It was everywhere. Actually, I mean, I would say that pretty much every commercial break, there was something about EV or crypto.
Yeah.
Typically crypto.com.
Yep. Oh, they're big sponsor, like big Super Bowl. Like,
Right.
You're going to get ready to see crypto.com for the rest of the football season for sure. But I guess when I think of EVs, Ford mostly. Who else did you see?
I was I was really impressed with the Ford commercials, honestly. Like there was kind of a true to form piece of it, but also a very new creative stance from them. So I was really impressed with that. I also, this is not EV, not crypto, but for the first time, I actually saw, I think it was a Hyundai Tucson commercial that aired originally 8 months ago, but they're still running it, about like questioning everything. And for me, it was like top 10 auto commercials of all time. So if you haven't seen that one, I think it's like Question Everything Hyundai. You could find it on YouTube, and it's really interesting, the creative matrix that they go through, and it doesn't feel like a car commercial, which I absolutely love. So
I feel like 8 months ago, I questioned everything a lot more than I do now. I think it's just because I've accepted that, like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought from Ford's standpoint, one of the ways they positioned the Lightning was basically making familiar things new again. And I think that from a brand play, you think of like Tesla, Rivian, you think of these other companies coming out with these very unfamiliar looking vehicles, especially when you think about like the Cybertruck, right? Very unfamiliar,
right.
And kind of an unfamiliar company still, they're in the news and you heard about them. So Ford really leaning into the legacy, and I think leaning into the role they've played in the country and in our culture, and saying it's like, oh, it's going to feel familiar, except it's going to be better, right? Because of electrification and showing the features and the truck powering the house. So
I thought that was a super, when's the last time that you were like, value proposition, we can power your house?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
That's especially when there's a winter storm ravaging the Northeast. Like, good timing on that one, Ford.
Great timing. Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk a little more automotive. We were kind of perusing automotive news and some of the blotters and the things that are coming up. And there was a cool article, I thought, in automotive news that had the Dave Gardner, the executive vice president of operations at Honda. And he was really leaning into thinking about what inventory is going to look like in the future. And I'll read a quote from the article. He says, everything we've done, and this is Dave Gardner, EVP of Ops at Ford America. It says, everything we've done has been focused on selling what's on the dealer lot. If we asked our dealers 2 years ago, could they envision operating in a low inventory environment, they would have said we were nuts. And then he goes on to say, if you were able to take significant part of the overhead out of this equation, I think this is a much more efficient and profitable business for everyone concerned. So it's like this conversation, I'm sure Honda isn't the only one having the conversation. Actually, we know it's not. But Automotive News did a great job in an article highlighting this and talking about things that I think are on everyone's mind. Like, obviously, they can't stay at this level, right? Because, like, what happens if you hit another disruption, which we will, and it won't be microchips next time. It'll be something else, right?
Yeah, I think, you can't, like, theoretically stay at a purely order-only basis.
Just in time, right, yeah.
Right, just in time, and, because there will be a mood change in customer behavior for sure, right? Especially as, like, if you think about this, I've been explaining this to a lot of people. Like, everybody knows that inventory shortages are not just automotive, right?
Mhm.
So there's an expectation that if you are retail shopping, you probably are dealing with some level of need to choose not what you wanted, right?
Yep.
Even if you have to order something. So, not every manufacturer, like American made manufacturers right now, can pretty much order like you want. But not every manufacturer has that capacity right now. So there's still
Mhm.
some flexing that customers have to do with the recognition that, supply is depleted. So there'll be a shift in consumer behavior when supply comes back in the rest of retail. And so you have to meet that demand in some way. But I think that there's a middle ground. Like instead of, Honda said they typically had 300,000 new vehicles on ground and then 100,000 in the pipeline. There's
Yep.
probably a middle ground between right now. There's probably, less than 100,000 in total. And so what's that middle ground? How do the manufacturers like balance stock inventory to available port inventory? It'll be an interesting conversation over the next year. And I think, especially with EV coming into play, will be a super relevant conversation.
We had a lot of conversation last week about collaboration between OEMs and dealers. And I think this is a great
Yes.
opportunity to have that collaboration, because if human nature is left to do what it's going to do, we're going to be back in the situation of OEMs trying to force inventory in and dealers trying to get them to discount, creating the situation that we all don't want again in the industry, which is
Right.
a very difficult, a negative profitable new car department. We don't ever have to go back. So if there's ever a time for collaboration, this is it. Monday, we're getting out of here. We're coming in hot. Listen, this is a week. Let it be a week of collaboration, sharing dreams and not plans, but still get some plans done because we need to make something happen. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Go get some, everybody.